So welcome back to my video, and today's topic is how to work a miracle. You have to understand what a miracle is. You have to understand that a miracle is really a growth experience and something that helps you to enlighten yourself to be more aware and be more conscious of being more compassionate and having more kindness and being a better person. You have to realize that is all got to do with A Course in Miracles, which you can go and get today in Amazon or audible.com. You can realize that it's a book that you can go and read, which is called A Course in Miracles. You'll realize that that book will give you many ideas about how to work a miracle in your life. I realize that because you're in this video, I just gave you a nice referencing point in order for you to go and learn more about how to create a miracle in your life. I realize that every single video I do is more on A Course of Miracles and also about how to work a miracle in your life in any topic that I say in my referencing in terms of my courses online. You can always make sure that it's always going to work a miracle for you, as I am Daniel Milivojevic and I will teach you more about miracles. You have to realize, guys, that to work a miracle, and I realize that to work a miracle in your life, you need to be a person who's far outgrowing other people. You have to realize that spirituality is the best idea in the world. You have to realize that the reason spirituality connects with growth is because no matter what, you realize that when you're growing as a person, you become more spiritual. You have to realize that it's more about how you look in life. You have to understand it's more about your health. You have to understand it's more about nutrition. You have to understand it's more about what is your passion and direction, and how are you going to set the sail into a better direction, as Jim Rohn says. You need to realize that those people who are more successful than you right now have worked more of a miracle in their life only by one step at a time. You understand? You work miracles in your life through one step at a time. You have one thought at a time. You write it down. You understand? You write all your thoughts down into an electronic phone where you can then upload your journal online. You can then teach a story. You will then start to manipulate nobody. You'll start to expose yourself and your fractions of calculations and multitude in life. You realize that your aptitude is your success. You realize that no matter what, those people who are growing today are the people who are fond and have fond awareness of themselves and are really in retrospect. You understand? You have to understand that retrospect means they are self-aware and have a philosophy and are philosophic in their way of life to become better. You understand? You have to be motivating. You have to be somebody who's really going to drive content into the universe that's really going to help someone, because that is how you work a miracle, by helping somebody. You have to understand, when you're helping somebody, you're really growing in your individual assets, because an asset column has everything to do with growth. You have to understand, when you're growing your assets, you're really finding ways to increase your finances and your mentality and everything about your life in a way that you're balancing. You have to balance your life. You have to realize that life is about balance. You have to really go and you have to realize that you need to experiment with the world around you in order to do trial and error, because, guys, that's probably the fastest way you can do it. You also have to realize that no matter what, there is an even faster way, and the fastest way to do anything is to teach it. You have to understand that there are many people who have lived life before you. You can go and learn from them. You can realize that they can shorten 10 years of trial and error into one day. You have to understand that you go and read their book in one day, you have their whole experience of 10 years in one day. You understand? You can then go and learn from the best in terms of life, and you have to realize that the more books you read, you have more compound interest in your favor. You have to understand what compound interest is. You have to understand that the more compound interest you have, the more miracles you have. You have to understand the more growth you have. You have to understand the more spirituality you have. You have to understand the more courage and confidence you have. You have to understand that those people who increase their skills in terms of their assets, you have to understand that skills are assets. You have to understand that those people who have more assets in life have more courage and confidence and look better and are also vegan and sober. You have to realize that those people who are sober and vegan are much more likely to live longer and succeed longer and be happier and have everything more than those people who never go sober and are never vegan. You have to understand that those people who have success more than others are working a miracle in their life more in terms of compound interest than those people who are less successful, because those people who are more successful are really doing something behind the scenes to help their life succeed. I realize that no matter what, I will explain a little story behind how I live my life so that you can go and grab my skills and knowledge and apply it into your life. You have to realize I wake up, I get into my phone, I realize today I have either a 1 hour rule or a 6 p.m. rule. I realize no matter what day it is, I change moods. I have to realize today I'll be doing the 1 hour rule, which means I'll stay indoors for 23 hours and I'll only go outdoors in terms of outside of my accommodation. I'll always be living inside my body though. I will go to the shops just to get food and I'll come back into my accommodation so that I can realize that my accommodation is really inside. I realize no matter what, then I just make sure to grow for 23 hours inside my room and I stay warm. I stay in winter, I stay inside. No matter what, I can also go and live my life. I can realize no matter what that sometimes also when I need to brand myself and I need to do traveling photos and I have to go somewhere, I can change my schedule from 1 hour rule to the 6 p.m. rule, which means when I change my schedule to the 6 p.m. rule, I wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning. I then am outside of my accommodation for 8 hours. I just walk about, I take photos of the scenery, I go wherever. I'm just never in accommodation from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I realize after 6 p.m. I must be inside my accommodation no matter what. I never walk the streets anymore. I never walk the streets after 6 p.m. You understand? I call it the 6 p.m. rule. I have to be inside my accommodation because I see a lot of junkies, I see a lot of negative people outside roaming the streets, and I see full of egos and I see full of danger. I just stay away from it. I love to be inside accommodation before 6 p.m. so that I can get started and do videos and do my life coaching and also have more private time, because guys, nobody really cares about me except for I. You have to understand that I have nothing to do with those people who are in Brisbane and Adelaide and anywhere in the world, because I will see them, I realize they'll just walk past me, I realize they'll never say hi, I realize they'll never get to know me. Unless I catch their attention and do something for free and I help them for free in some kind of way, I realize that they'll come my way. I realize I do that already here. I realize no matter what, I realize that many people need to work A Course in Miracles in their life. You have to realize that having a schedule for yourself and something that's really going to help you move forward is the best way to do it. You have to realize that I have two schedules. I have either a 1 hour rule schedule or a 6 p.m. schedule, which is all wrapped up in one. I call it the one schedule that I have, and I just have two choices in one. I realize no matter what, I'm always sticking to the one barrier and I'm always simplifying my life and numbers into one. I realize that the most important number in my life is number one. I never care about the money. I care about being number one in my life. I care about the free work I do. I realize that the more free work I do, I realize the more Course in Miracles and more miracles I will provide for others in terms of for God, to make sure that no matter what, that everybody is successful, including I. You understand? I realize I only do it for I, and I realize that my God is in my eye. You have to realize that no matter what, it's really the I love you factor that's really going to determine how much success you're going to have in your life. I realize that those people who are really successful love themselves more. You have to notice that. You have to notice when you see someone shine, you have to notice that they are doing something behind the scenes to really help that shine come about. You have to realize that no matter what, you have to interview them, you have to give them attention, you have to share them around. You have to understand that the more you share around successful people, the more you are going to be shared around. You understand? You have to realize that you have to drop your ego. You have to realize that no matter what, your ego is never going to work anything in your life. You have to realize that skills will. You have to understand that skills is something that's really going to boost your confidence and courage and wisdom and everything. You have to realize that wisdom is everything about life. You have to understand that wisdom is something that you can only gain. You understand? You can never lose wisdom. You have to understand that. You can never lose it. You have level 500 wisdom. You can never lose that. You can get shot. I promise you that nobody can ever take your wisdom away from you. You have to realize that you can go and give your wisdom to people. You can go and share your content around. You can go share what you have to say. You can go and brighten your perspective online. You go and brighten your day. You go and speak out aloud somewhere, and you just make sure to be heard. You understand? Because everybody in life needs some significance and attention, and also a variety, and also to feel certain about themselves in a way that they are growing. You understand? You have to also make sure that no matter what, you're always in discomfort as well, and that you also have nothing to worry about, and also that you make sure that you're working with fear and never letting fear get to you, because fear is really the ego mind. You have to realize that when you are letting fear and anxiety and panic attacks rule over your life, and epilepsy and all these mental health issues, it's because you are really never being on the offense about your mentality. I realize it's really that you're never reading something and you're never around positive people. You have to understand that those people who are around you may have also influenced you into being unhealthy. And it's really that kind of aspect of life that I'm trying to really say, that you never really fully judge it. All you really say, you have to realize that all you really say is you may be a person who is mentally ill. I promise you that it's because of those people who are around you. You have to understand that your parents sometimes may never be on your side. I realize that my biological mother will say, I need your medication. I need your medication. I realize no matter what, I never need your medication. I realize that my biological mother needs me on medication so that she can kick me down. You understand? I never need that. I never need to see her ever again when she says that. I realized that I already communicated that to her. I said, I'll never ever again see you again because you're a person who just drags me down this way. I realized no matter what, I never need you to be on medication either. I don't care what kind of mental health issues you had. I understand that you're a person who needs to feel control in life. I never need you to be around people who try to exert control over you, such as my biological mother who tries to do it to me. You need to understand that you're a better person now. You have to understand that people will never love you. You have to understand that you must love yourself. You have to understand that if you're a person who's killing yourself today, I promise you that those people around you never love you. I promise you they're only with you because there are drugs there. I promise you they're only with you because there's nobody else. You understand? I promise you they're only with you because they don't know how to grow. I promise you as soon as you learn how to grow, I promise you that you'll go your separate way. I promise you that at age 13, I would have, at this level, I would have left the crowd at age 13. I promise you, I would never even be with them. You have to understand that. You have to understand that you eventually have to leave the crowd. You have to go your own way, and you have to start learning some independent skills for yourself, which are really life coaching techniques and strategies and business strategies, they're called. You have to learn those skills in order to maneuver your way around life by traveling and working your finances in a way that you never go broke while you're traveling. I've done that for 1 year around Australia. I was homeless on 3 occasions. I realized I was homeless on 2 nights inside of my car. I slept in the cold. I also realized that my mother sent me $400. I just left my dad's house. I have my car full of stuff inside my car. I realized I have to find something to do with $400. I had about 600. I realized I have to find a renting place. I realized that's the first place I went to. I just went and found something. I realized that it was $240 a week or something like that for me to rent. I found a nice place in Meadowbank in Sydney, Australia. I realized no matter what, from that point, I escalated into other areas of life, into Eastwood. I went to Ryde. I realized no matter what, I started to live. I found a nice place for $150 a week. I realized that's really affordable in Sydney. You have to realize that in Sydney, it's really over $300 for a nice, beautiful house in rent, kind of. You have to realize that it's really a nice, beautiful house in kind of a rent capacity where you can go and live. You have to understand that I never needed that. I just needed a nice small room for myself. I realized I have a nice, beautiful room here in Brisbane right now. I have it for $22 a night. I realized I give another extra $6 because I book online. I do that because no matter what, I never have to wait 8 hours so that somebody else books my room. I book my hostels and my accommodation after 12 a.m. I see when 12 a.m. strikes, I go and book online my next night into my accommodation, and I do that every single day. I do it one step at a time, guys. I never book ahead of time. I never shop ahead of time. I never shop for more than one day. I never get accommodation for more than one day. I never get more than one pair of clothing. I never do anything more than once. You understand? I stick to the one barrier. You have to understand that the one barrier is going to help you to relieve yourself. You have to understand it's going to make you help yourself calm down. You have to understand that you have to simplify. You have to understand that multiplication is 1. You have to understand when you see the timetables in life, you have to understand when it's 9 times 9, you have to understand when it's 9 times 9, it equals 1, baby. You have to understand no matter what, that every single number, you have to bring it down to 1. You have to simplify it because you never get confused about numbers. You understand? You have to understand that every number you see out there is just number 1. And you just stick to that nice barrier for yourself, you'll realize that it's going to work A Course in Miracles in your life. You have to understand that there is more to it. You have to realize that the number 1 is really the first step in everything. You only do life once. You understand? You never do it twice. You never do it 3 times. You have to understand that twice and 3 times and 500 times is a smaller number than number 1. You have to realize that when you're doing something 10 times, you have to understand that it's never really as good as the first time. You have to understand when you have sex the first time, you have to understand that after that, you have to understand that it slowly starts to gradually either get better or worse when you're growing. You have to realize no matter what, that it's really that you're a person who realizes that once is the first time in everything. You understand? You need to realize when you have sex the first time, you have to realize it's going to be your best one ever. You understand? Because it's really your first time. You have to understand because it's really your first time. You have to understand that those people who are growing otherwise, you have to understand that you have many sexual encounters. You have to realize you have many opportunities. You're just doing it one time. You're never doing sex 500 times. You're doing it one time each time. You understand? You're doing it one time. You understand? You may be a person who's had sex with men or women 500 times. You have to understand that you only ever had sex on one occasion with one person in life. You understand? You've only ever had one sexual occasion. You understand? You have to understand that everybody is one over here. You have to understand that one person is walking the earth right now. You have to understand there's only one body. You have to understand there's only one world. You have to understand there's only one type of grass. You understand? You have to understand that. You have to understand that there's only one air in life. You have to understand there's only one material. You have to understand there's only one essence in life. You have to understand you simplify the world. You have to understand that once you work A Course in Miracles in life, you're going to realize a miracle really comes from those people who have the mentality to really grow and prosper and become abundant in a way that they're helping other people to succeed, and they're always looking for new ways of thinking in terms of never thinking. You have to understand that thinking is never really good for you. You have to understand that the more you think, the more mentally ill you are. I'm not thinking right now. I'm really using my heart. I'm really using my heart to speak with you. I realize that my heart has no thinking in it. I realize I just speak. I just speak naturally. You have to understand that your heart is going to help you to speak naturally in front of people. You have to use your heart to speak. You have to understand that you never think, you just go and do. You have to understand that your heart is naturally going to be appropriate in every situation. You have to understand that your heart's always going to teach you. You have to understand also that without a journal and without something to write on, you have to understand that you will most probably and most certainly be a person who's a failure. You have to understand that you need to write something down. You need to start giving some value. You need to start writing a video content down. You have to start writing audio down. You have to start writing some words down. You have to start writing some quotes down. You need to start building a legacy for yourself, because that's the only way you ever make a miracle in your life. You have to work the miracle. You have to every single day show up in front of the camera. You have to start doing something of relevance into the world of growth. You have to be able to stand for something and talk about it every single day of your life. I promise you, that way you'll get noticed and you'll be the best in your field. You You have to realize that, have you ever heard of somebody ever say that you have to be the best in your field? You have to be the best in your field, because when you are, that way you will gain some attention. That way, you have to realize, that way you're going to grab more people in your favor, and you're going to create a legacy, and you're going to be able to have more opportunities, and you're going to be the person who is forever growing. You understand? You have to be that person. You have to be that person who really motivates people in any direction that you're doing in life. You have to realize, in life, you're a person who's just really grabbing all the potential and skills that you have. You're putting it into video content. You're putting it into audio content. You're putting it into the world. You're just building it up slowly. You have to realize it's a slow journey. You have to realize that I can do up to 3 hours of video every single day. I can do up to 4 hours of video. I just realized that I have to do something else that's really going to improve my life also. I do my journal too. You have to realize I bring you some journals, I bring you some videos, I bring you also some content around traveling in terms of where I am. I bring you some also my photos. I bring you my photos because I have to brand myself. I have to look good also. I can never just be doing content. I have to also do content with branding. I have to do content with quotes. I have to do content with all this. I have to do varieties inside of my life in order for me to grow. I can never just be doing videos only every single day. Otherwise, I have nothing to do. I realize that once I do a 2-hour video, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it anymore. I realize I can feel like doing some writing though, because now it's 1 o'clock in the morning and everybody's sleeping around my house. And I realize that no matter what, I just have to keep moving forward. You have to realize sometimes when you're speaking, that's the only way that you can move forward. You have to move forward with the I, and you have to show yourself that you can do it. You have to realize that when people are around your house and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you have nothing to do, you can write something down in a journal. You understand? You can do some music production. You can do something quietly. You understand? You can paint a picture. You can paint a picture quietly. You understand? You can do something around your business that has nothing to do with video and audio. You understand? You don't even have to show your face anymore. You can just do the audio faction. You can create yourself a nice step audiobook. You understand? You have to understand that you have to do this one step at a time. I have to do it one video at a time. I have to do everything one time, in one era, in one millennial, and you have to realize it's all got to do with one moment. You have to realize it's all got to do with 1 second. You have to realize that one is everything. You have to realize that 1 second is a lifetime. You understand? You have to realize that 1 second is an eternity. You have to realize that the more you're really encouraging people to step into one and more, you have to realize that it's only one that you ever need. You have to realize that everything below one is less. You have to realize that the one is the biggest number. You have to understand that those people who understand the course in miracles and how to work a miracle in life are really going to be the people who are watching this video, and are really going to be people who are taking action to read the course in miracles also, and are going to be people who have already applied some information from this video, and are people who are really writing notes as I speak. You have to be tuning in daily. You also have to be able to have mentors. You have to be able to be a person who's speaking much greater, and I promise you that a journal is going to help you do that. You have to realize that those people who are very fond of the world around them, I realize that they are really dying. I realize that no matter what, you need to be a person who's more fond about you than the outside world. I promise you that you never be interested in the world around you. You'll be interested more in yourself than the world around you. I promise you that way, you'll be more interested. I promise you that when you're more interested in other people than you are in yourself, I promise you that you're going to cause a disaster, and you're going to die, and you're going to cause suicide, and you're going to be in mental health issues. You have to understand that I was a person who was far more into other people. I was far more into other women. I was far more chasing women. I was just chasing the drugs. I was chasing a high. I was chasing the music. I was chasing everything. I was chasing everything that was never good for me. You have to realize that no matter what, I started to develop, I started to learn, I started to have mentors, I started to read, I started to become more successful because I was reading more. I started to really download information more and more. I realized that more and more people started to come in my life in terms of my mentors, and I also had millionaires. I also had people who are really loving my life in terms of life. I realize no matter what, that's only I realize I just am a person who is really in control of my mind. I'm only a person who is only growing. I'm always better than yesterday. And you have to realize that is a term that you need. You need to be a person who's really growing. You need to push with your heart. You need to speak with your heart. You need to do everything with your heart. You have to realize that those people who are doing something far greater than you today are the people to go and learn from. You understand? You have to go and learn from those people who are moving forward. You have to move forward in your communication. You have to realize that your communication is key. You have to realize that you never worry about what's happening. You just need to be a person who's always coaching yourself in every single video how to do better. You have to realize that those people who go and tune into your videos and watch you are really the people who will spread you around and share you around. Although once you do the video, you've learned something yourself and you've taken something away from your own video. You understand? Because you've taught it. You have to understand, because you've taught it, you can go and do something much more now. You have to realize that you have to build assets. You have to realize that 1 hour videos posted online for free is an asset into your company. You have to realize that the video is going to help someone to succeed, and it's going to help someone to be more motivated in daily life because they see you doing it. You have to realize that when I can do it, so can you. You understand? You can do anything that anybody else can do when you go and put in the effort. You have to realize how to put in the effort though. You have to realize to put in the effort, you have to work a miracle in your life. You have to realize that you have to start growing. You have to start really, really prospering in terms of a way that you're really finding a more interesting barrier for yourself. You have to realize that it's more, never get lost, and really, really let's focus to help your mind grow and succeed. You have to realize that it's about more. You have to realize it's more about growth. You have to realize it is more about something that's going to help you succeed than ever. You understand? You need to be a person who's far greater than yesterday. You need to be a person who's far going to work your terms in a way that you have better vocabulary skills. You need to be able to work your synonyms, and you have to be able to orchestrate your life in a way that's going to help you. You understand? You need to be a person who is writing something down in a way that is going to help you communicate better, and it's going to help your mind to do better. You have to be a peak performer. You have to read books on peak performance. You have to read books with mentors who are really going to help you do anything in life. You have to realize that I'll help you do anything when you're determined. You understand? I can do it. I realize that you can do it. I realize that those people who are dedicated and watch me, I realize those people can really succeed as much as I do. You have to realize that no matter what, you never judge me for who I am. I realize no matter what, that I am 28 years young. I realize that I still grow. I'm still number one in my life. I realize that no matter what, I always respect my boundaries. I respect myself to never neglect myself. And you have to also have the same morals. You have to realize that my morals is very high. I have higher morals than anybody else. I have a higher work ethic than anybody else. I'm 28 years young. I although get judged by many people about my age and how much I can teach and what I can do. I realize no matter what, I am more successful than their families and their ancestors. You have to realize that no matter what, I'm a person that is far excelling in my life. You need to be inspired by that. You need to be a person who's really inspired by daily life, and that is how to really work a miracle in your life. You have to realize that you have to get the potential. You have to find it within you. You have to look within you, and you have to say, I deserve this. I deserve to succeed. I deserve to grow. I have to learn. I have to study. I have to realize that no matter what, I have Danny Milivojevic for the next 73 years. I realize no matter what, I'll still be a person growing. I have mentors now. I have a way to go to the Course of Miracles now. I can go and read more. I realize that there is a nice slow journey ahead of me. You have to realize that it's a slow journey. You have to realize that no matter what, you never start having a panic attack. You never have a panic attack. And you never start having a panic attack because it's never going to help you. You never hyperventilate. You beat in your heart. And you use your heart coherence. You understand? You're pushing your heart forward. You're realizing no matter what that you're really, really a person giving more information to the world, and you're giving more than you're taking. You understand? You have to find your own passion. You have to realize that those people around you are never going to work a miracle for your life. I realize that no matter what, that many people are lying today about money and about how to gain it. You have to realize that the best way that you can gain money is really that you realize that money is good only when it's freely given. I realize that when you have no girlfriend, I realize that when you have no money, I realize when you don't have something, you never really deserve it. You only deserve what you have. You can only work with what you have. You have to realize that when you allow yourself to have a girlfriend and to have more money and to travel the world, you will do something about it. You understand? You have to realize that you never start complaining about how many women you never have and how many men you never have and what you never have in life. You have to understand that what you complain about is what you must teach. You understand? You must go and teach it into a video in order to work a miracle in your life. You have to realize you have to think on your toes, because those people who are independent and interdependent are really people who are leaders and are people who are able to solve those problems, because otherwise you have no story. You need to go and give your story and teach your story and start that way, because that way is the best way to make the first step into a better life. You need to start with you. You have to realize that the miracle is you. You have to realize that you now are the mystic and the magician in your life who's going to get on the camera and is going to start writing something and doing something in your life that's really going to help you to succeed. You understand? You have to be that person for yourself. You have to push your heart into it. And you have to do 1 minute videos at first. I started with 1 minute videos. I did 500 episodes. I realized then I started doing 10-minute videos. I started doing 5 minutes. I started doing 15. I started doing 20. I started doing 30. I started doing 1 hour now. I started doing 4 hours. You have to realize that it took me 1 year. I realized that it took me underneath 1 year to make 4-hour videos. I realized that, guys, it happens fast. You have to realize it's really a fast progress. You just dive into it and you keep going. I realized that the first day I started in Eastwood, when I started Snapchat videos, I realized that I was a person who had a dream. I had a dream to go travel around Australia and be on Snapchat while all my friends and people were watching me being an entrepreneur while I was traveling. I'm still traveling today. I'm still doing everything. I realize that people are now watching me. I realize it's a dream come true for me. I realize now I still have to grow. I still have to keep it up. I have to keep the fame. You understand? I realize that Grant Cardone says keep the fame. You have to realize that when you're keeping the fame, you're growing. You're always growing. You have to realize that many people, such as many actors, are on screen. I realized that after 10 years, they really fell apart. You have to realize the why in that message. You have to realize they really never grew. You have to understand they really never believed in themselves. You have to realize that many people will fall apart over the years. You have to realize that a soccer player may be famous now for the next 20 years. I promise you, after the 20 years, when they turn 40, I promise you they really drifted off. I promise you they're acting all this for 20 years in fame and on TV. I promise you after that, I never see many soccer players after 40. You understand? I never see them anymore. I realize they're in one town. I realize they're goners. I realize they're finished. I realize they make the money and they're gone. I realize they've got no more passions. I realize they died. I never need you to die. I need you to look at Tony Robbins though. I need you to look at this person who started at 16. I promise you that guy is 61 now. I promise you he's still at the top. I promise you he's still doing something very big. I promise you that guy is going to the top. I promise you that guy will never ever stop. I promise you I'll never stop either. I've overtaken Tony Robbins. I've overtaken Tony Robbins. You have to understand, I'll never stop. You have to understand, you have to keep the fame. You have to start teaching something about business and mentality and confidence and psychology and scientists. You have to teach what it is that you're really loving to do. You have to teach spirituality. You have to teach something in order to become what you teach. You have to believe in something. You have to believe in something. You have to do something for nothing. You have to realize what that means. You have to realize that it means when you do something for nothing, you're really doing it for free. You're never expecting anything in return. You have to understand that what you expect in return is a greater ideal. You have to realize you're really expecting a greater ideal from yourself. You have to understand that Earl Nightingale says that you have to make it a worthy ideal for yourself. You have to make it something that's really going to help yourself to succeed. You have to realize that when you're on a camera, when you're in a camera for 1 hour, you have to teach people. You have to teach people something to grow. I realize that once you've completed the 1 hour video, I promise you that you've learned something more in that video than the other people who never done it. You understand? You have to be a person who's really growing in a term that you're teaching people every single area of your life and you're putting in a video as much as you can, every single day, as much as you can. I promise you, do 12 hours a day. I promise you, do 15. I promise you, do as much as you can. I promise you, write as much as you can. I promise you, give content as much as you can. You understand that you never be limited. You must You have to realize that you never be limited about your numbers and who you are. You have to realize that you have to always be given the wisdom in life to succeed, because that's what's going to increase your wisdom. That's going to really help you to succeed. And you have to speak it from the heart. You have to realize you have to use your heart for everything. I try to always make sure that no matter what, I plan my day ahead around my videos. I realize around my videos, I plan my day ahead. I plan my day ahead about my food and what I'll eat. I really eat very quickly. I eat vegan food. I eat anything that's around canned food. I eat bread. I eat peanut butter. I eat peanuts. I eat nuts. I eat seeds. I just need you to realize that I am a person who never cooks. I never boil my food. I never eat anything that is oil unless I have to go and get myself some variety meals. I just get some takeaway. I never make my food. I realize that my food's already made. You understand? I realize that I can get some takeaway and Chinese food. I realize I have no problem with that. I just am a person who never goes and cooks something on a pan, such as many people do with steak and all of that. I'm a vegan. You have to realize that I stay away from soft drinks. I stay away from all soft drinks. I promise you that I only drink soy milk and water. I promise you I drink nothing else. You have to realize that no matter what, I only have that. You have to realize that everything else is prices. I mean, prices that I never even think about in my daily life. I remove those prices from my mind. I have maybe 10 foods that I really eat on a daily basis. I have another 4 or 5 where I can go and grab a takeaway food. I realize that's all. I realize that that's all I need. I have no processed food. I have no McDonald's. I never eat Subway. I never eat Pizza Hut. I never eat Red Rooster. I never eat KFC. You understand? I realize that is all prices that I save in money through other means, and I invest that money into a better ideal. You have to understand that you need a better conclusion. You have to understand that you need a better beginning. You have to understand that your conclusion is your beginning. You have to understand that there is no end. I need you to also begin with the end in mind. I need you to realize that the end in mind is what you are doing now that is better than yesterday. You have to realize that is the end in mind. You have to realize that it's really about positive growth and something that's really going to be one vision. You need one vision. You have to make your vision better than yesterday. I just need you to do that. I never care what it is. I never care what your vision is, except for be better than yesterday. I need you to remember that. I need you to stick to that. I need you to stick to that one vision in life. I need you to really make it in life. I need you to really just broaden any area of your life and be better in it than yesterday. I don't care what it is. You like music, you stick to music and you become better every single day in it. You don't like music, you go find something else. You be better in that something else every single day. You come back to music, you become better again. You become better in everything you do. You have to realize that no matter what, you have to better your crowd, you have to better the people around you, you have to better yourself, you have to better your technology, you have to better your finances, you have to better your mentality, you have to better how you look, you have to lose weight, you have to also gain weight, you have to also, I don't know, you have to realize that you just have to look better. You understand? I don't know what it is for you. You may be a person who is overweight, you need to lose weight then. You need to start bettering your nutrition, your health. I would just say you have to better your health. You have to look more muscular. You understand? I realize that it's much better to look muscular than to look with no muscles. You understand? I realize that no matter what, some people are too muscular. I never need you to be too muscular. I need you to be somebody who's just natural about your bodybuilding intake. You understand? I never need you on the steroids. I never need you on the drugs. I never need you to poison yourself. I never need you to poison your temple. I need you to be a person who's smarter than yesterday. I need you to work smart. I need you to be smart. I need you to look better. I never need you to be a faker. I never need you to be a confuser. I never need you to mix around the crowd and cause drama. I never need you to talk about somebody else. I realize when I talk with you, I'll talk with you only. I never care about anybody else. I'll never bring another name with us. I realize that your name may be your name. I realize my name is my name. I just talk between us. I realize I never fucking care about anybody else. I'll never bring this woman into our friendship to ask about her and what I should do. I realize that when I do this, I really am stupid about it because I've already said something negative about her. You understand? I would only bring in people, for example, I would mention somebody, I would also mention them in a positive term that you must go and learn from them. You understand? Because that you have to realize, because that is a nice positive term where you can help teach someone something. You have to always speak in a broad term that is positive about others, and never involve other people to make drama over them. I realize that many women do this. I realize that many men do this too. I realize that many people are causing gossip and drama. I realize they're always around drama people. I never need you to be around drama. I need you to remove the drama from your life. I need you to remove the negativity from your life. I never need you to be around husbands and wives who bash you. I never need you to be around kids that you have who are doing drugs either. You understand? I need you to realize though, that when your kids are doing drugs, I need you to realize that you need to help them. You need to help them. I also need you to realize that you need to put them in rehab. You need to put them in rehab. I realize that it's the best opportunity for you to do so. I realize that that's going to really help them, because it really helped me. I realize that I was put in rehab for 4 months. I realized that it really helped broaden my mind. Although, learned so much from it. You have to understand that no matter what, you never go and just kick your kids out. I realize that sometimes families do this. I realize that you never have to do it. You never have to dog your kids. You never have to be negative on them. You just have to realize that you never spoil them in a way that they become negative. You have to be a person who's growing in your family in a way that you're just being better than yesterday. You have to focus on yourself more than your whole family. You have to realize that you have to be a positive role model. You understand? I don't care who you are. You may be a person who has a lot of money. You may be also a negative person. You understand? I realize that many financially rich people are negative too. You have to understand that no matter what, you need to be a person who is really just focusing on yourself. I don't care how many family members you have. You have to realize that the better you are, the better your family is. You have no complaints for why your son went to drugs, because you were a drug addict. You can never be spoiling and kicking somebody down like that. You have to understand that when a person needs help, you have to be compassionate in a way to teach them out of it. You have to make sure that they never even get to that stage in the first place. You have to realize that when you're a drug addict and you have a family member who's a drug addict too, I promise you that you never even help them. I promise you that you go and help yourself first. I never need you to help other people at all. I never need you to help anybody. I need you to help yourself only. I realize that is the best way for you to really do anything worthwhile. I realize that the more you help others, I realize the more they are ungrateful for you. I realize they don't care about you. I realize that right now. I realize that whoever you're living with, I realize that they do not care about you. I promise you that they're with you. I promise you they live with you. I promise you they may give you stuff and I promise you they may give you stuff and such of that nature. I promise you that they will never grow you. You have to understand. You have to understand that they'll never be the person to grow you. You have to understand that anything outside of here, anything in the world that's of this world is going to fall apart. I promise you that no matter how much your wife or husband loves you, I promise you they will pass away. I promise you they will leave you broken. I promise you they'll leave you broken if you never grow. You'll realize truly who your true friend is. You have to realize that whoever you're with now, you cherish them, you grow with them, you never put them down. You have to realize that. You have to realize that you never rely on people for money either. You have to be a person who gains money freely through the habits and decisions you've made in order to be able to do so. You have to realize that money is gained freely. You understand? You have to realize that once you quit smoking, you've just made $7,000. You gave yourself free money. You have to realize that when you better your habits, you're going to have more free money coming along. You have to understand that you never go and make money. You never go and make money. You only make money through your habits. You only make money by doing free work. You only make money by doing your passion and doing what you love to do without money. You never do it with money. You understand? You have nothing to do with money anymore. You have to realize that Jesus is a person who lived way back in our time. I am sure that you're probably someone who realizes that. I'm also never sure of anything. I realize no matter what, I'm never a person who's sure about anything. I realize that many people can recognize Jesus in terms of the Bible and the Christian Bible. I realize that no matter what, that Jesus is a person who came into the world to inspire everybody, and he never lived with money and never had money in his life and never worked for it. You have to understand that the Bible is something that's really self-education. It's going to really teach you about life. It's going to really teach you, I realize it's really going to teach you about everything that you need to succeed. You have to realize that the Bible is wisdom. You have to realize that wisdom will stand the test of time always. You have to realize that you never waste time in your videos when you're giving content. You have to realize that you have to put your best performance all the time. You have to realize you always have to be doing something in relevance to what you're saying, and you have to keep moving on with the conversation so that you keep people interested, because when you are speaking about the same thing over and over, you have to realize you're never learning. You have to realize that people start to get bored. You have to realize that once you're getting bored of what you're saying, you have to realize you start moving on now. You have to understand that you have to keep actually pitting the audience in a better way, in a way that you have to realize, in a way that you're really educating everybody there. You're even educating yourself on stage while you're really giving the content. You have to realize that's the only way to really grow. You have to realize that's the only way to be. You can never be saying the same thing over and over. I hope also that no matter what, you have to realize that you never be in anywhere where you have to read from a paper. You never read from a paper anything. You have to realize that people who read from a paper and read word for word are really people who never grow. You have to go and get that paper and you have to apply it without looking at it. You have to understand that is the real teaching. You have to understand that the real teaching is just show up in the camera and just speak. Speak your mind. I promise you, the more you do it over and over with repetition in a different manner every single time, I promise you that you're going to become more of a specialist in your field. I promise you that you never become a specialist, you become a student. I promise you that the more you are teaching and learning from your own videos, I promise you those aspects of life are really going to help you to move forward. I promise you it's really the giving. I promise you it's really your attitude that you're building in the video. I promise you it's really the awareness that you're giving out. I promise you it's something that is really going to help you move forward. I realize that you never have to worry about how far you've come. You have to realize that no matter what, you only grow in the moment. You understand? You're only growing in the moment in a way that you're prospering and you're envisioning something that's really going to help you succeed. I realize I plan my life in a video. I plan my life right now about my life in terms of what I'll do. You have to realize that when you're a person doing this, you're always going to be able to find satisfaction in growth, and you're going to be able to be happier in the moment, because you're never having to go to the past to really satisfy yourself. You have to realize that only growth is going to satisfy you. You have to realize that A Course in Miracles and a miracle is to satisfy yourself in a way that you're going to grow. You have to realize that's the only way that you can do it. You have to realize that it's only that you're really growing that's really going to make a difference. You need to grow. You need to figure out the skills to grow. You need to find out that it's really that only you can do this. You have to realize the more ideas I give you, I promise you it's going to help. I promise you that no matter what, you'll find a way to grow. I realize that no matter what, the more ideas you will have more fuel and inspiration to go and grab your phone to start teaching yourself how to grow and learn. You have to teach yourself how to learn and grow. You have to do that in your own time. You also have to pick up the camera. You also have to start teaching something on your own. I realize many people have self-esteem issues around being inside the camera and also around teaching something. You have to realize I was teased by Serbian people in Sydney. I was teased by them on many occasions and in years and years of time being with them. You have to realize that I was a person who was a disgrace in the community. You have to realize now, I have more success than all of them. I realize they're saying all of a sudden this guy is all the way on the top bar. You have to understand, you understand those druggers? I promise you no matter what, that they now admire me because I do better than them. You understand? I do better than them because I'm always in my journal. I'm always doing something that's really going to help me succeed. I'm always doing something that's really going to help me to figure out life better. You understand? I'm always a person who's figuring out a better idea. I'm always looking at a better term and a better skill technique that I can use to teach someone with. You understand? I'm always giving something for free. I'm always giving presents. I'm always giving something that's really going to help inspire me. I have to always give you some more encouragement so that I can really encourage myself to grow. You have to realize that the more you encourage others, I promise you the more enthusiastic and incredible and charismatic and also the better attitude you're going to have and the more love you're going to give, toward others when you're more confident because you're giving content for free. You have to connect the dots. You have to connect the dots in terms of your wisdom and what you've understood about self-education and the Bible. You have to realize that the Bible is something that's really going to help you. You have to be fast on your toes. You have to realize that you never stop for anybody. You never stop communicating. You never stop doing anything except grow. You just stop nothing. You stop nothing, you start doing something. You have to understand it's about growth now. You have to realize it's about a better mentality and having better vision. You understand? You have to have better vivid vision and a vision in terms of the heart's eye. You have to realize it's about the heart more than the mind. You have to understand it's heart over mind. You have to understand it's freedom over money. You have to start making priorities. You have to start doing time trade-offs, as John C. Maxwell says. I promise you that a time trade-off is something, for example, that you are either a person who has an opportunity to go to your girlfriend's house to do something for her, or you have to do something around your passion that's really important, because that's going to help both of you to escalate your relationship in a better way. You have to realize that you now have a choice to do. You have to realize that you have to make the choice to be with yourself more than her. You have to understand that it's a priority. You understand? You made a priority that no matter what happens, you will do something for yourself more than you will for your girlfriend. You understand? I realize that no matter what, there are many people out there in the world that will do more for their spouse and their kids, and you will realize no matter what that you get disappointed this way. I promise you that you may have been a person who messaged people. I promise you they never reply for 7 days. I promise you love them so much. I promise you they never reply for 7 days. I promise you that's disappointing. I promise you that you never even had to think about them in the first place. I promise you that many people are putting number one in other people. You never do that. You have to realize that you need to be number one, and you have to make sure that everybody else is making sure that they are number one. You understand? You're never the person who is lifting everybody else while you're drowning in the pool. You have to realize you never do that, because everybody else will look at you and call you a stupid idiot. You have to understand that when somebody is lifting you up, you have to make sure that you lift them up also. You have to lift them up also in a way that you're lifting yourself up only. You have to understand that those people who are really interested in you and need to grow with you are people who are going to join your video, and are people who are going to, and they are people who are going to really study from you and learn from you, and they are going to be your fans. You can do this video for longer in terms of your life. You realize that your life is a video. You understand? You can be a person who's just encouraging yourself to do more anyway. You need to be a person who's really inspirational in what you're doing. You need to give more so you can gain more. I realize that the more you do, the better for you. I realize the more you're going to actually learn from life. You need to be a person who's just always learning and growing. You're doing something to learn and grow. You're doing something to really envision your life better. You have to realize that it's never about the finish. You have to realize it's about the moment. You have to realize it's about living now. You have to realize it's about, let's teach every single moment. You have to understand that it's about, let's do it one step at a time. You find the words to say, you're a much better person. You realize that you're communicating better. You have to realize that when you communicate better, you're always a person who's going to be more confident and have higher self-esteem, because that is the benefit of life. You understand? You need more benefits. You need to realize to go and find that nutrition that you need. You need to find the people you need. You need to find the resources. You need to find what you're looking for. You have to find your needs only. You only need what you need. You never need what you want. You have to realize that today is what you need. You have to realize in 10 years' time is what you want. You need to only stick to your needs in order to get to your want. You understand? You have to realize that your need is more important. You need accommodation today. You need food today. You need clothing today. You need to have only that. You need resources today. You need technology today. You understand? You may be a person who needs a certain amount of money. I promise you that you never need a certain amount of money. I promise you never need any money in life. You just need skills. You need anything to back up your passion that you can do for free. I don't care what that is. You find the money. I promise you that you just need to be a person who has technology that can help you do your passion, you can start doing passions of yours in an exercise book. You can start doing it in an exercise book for however many dollars. You never even do it for the money. You're never doing it for the money. You're doing it so that you're really giving the money. You're giving $3, $4. You realize you're giving $4 for an exercise book so that you can go and write something that's really going to help inspire you. You understand? You have to realize that many people are going to government educational schools and are never really learning anything. I was one of those people. I went to a government education system. I realized they were teaching me to work to 9 to 5. You have to realize that Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about this. I was a person who was scammed. I was a person who worked for money. I was a person who followed the crowd. I followed the crowd. I didn't know what I was doing. I followed the drug path. I was doing the drugs. I was doing everything that was negative. I was on the verge of suicide on multiple occasions. I could have killed someone. I could have caused an accident and killed someone. You have to realize that is never the way to go. You need to be a person who's smarter than I was. You have to understand that if you're a person who is watching this video today, I am positive that you may be a person who is really, let's say, attracted for a better way. I realize that you are attracted for a better way. I realize that no matter what, I never doubt myself. I'm never doubting myself. I realize I'm positive that you're a person who is really working yourself in a better way, because no matter what, I am learning and growing myself. You have to realize that I am moving forward with or without you. You need to catch up with me. You have to realize that when I give you content, I'm moving forward no matter what. You also need to be moving forward in your life. You have to realize that I have time for mentors. I realize that when I watch a YouTube video, I'm also writing notes now. I'm writing notes because I'm so serious about my life. I'm so serious about growth. I'm so serious about learning. I have to be because everybody else in my life dogged me. You understand? I realize that my biological father can never help me anymore. I realize that my biological mother can never help me anymore. I realize that nobody else can help me anymore except for I. I realize that only I can help I. I have to go and grab the resources I need. I realize that those people who have stopped giving you value are really the people you never be around with. You understand? You never be around people who are unvaluable. I don't care that they are your family members. I realize that no matter what, your family members can be unvaluable. You have to realize that you're just wasting time with them. You're wasting time. You need to be around people who are growing you. You have to understand that growth is the true journey. You never be around people who are pushing you down. Why would you want to be around family members who are in their comfort zones and never growing you? You have to realize that you'll be very demotivated around them. You have to realize that when you're around deadbeat people, you have to realize that those deadbeat people are in their comfort zones. You have to realize that you have to be around people who are growing. I'd rather you go away from your family than you being with your family when they are people who lack business skills. You have to understand that your family may be people who have business skills. I promise you there are people who are more skilled than them. I promise you there's somebody smarter than them. You can find them on YouTube. I promise you there's somebody more famous. I promise you there's someone more inspirational. I promise you that you can look to the Bible now and you can go find Jesus. I promise you that you can go and teach and you can be as inspirational. I promise you no matter what, you need to look at Jesus all the time. You need to be a person who's always encouraging yourself to follow Jesus' shoes. I don't care how arrogant you are about how good your family is. I promise you that Jesus is much better. I promise you no matter what, that you're probably a person that probably just said, you are wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong about this. I promise you that my mother is the most inspirational person in my life. I promise you that my dad and my sister help me more than anybody else. I don't care about that. You have to understand that Jesus helped this world more than everybody else. You understand? You have to go and learn from me now. I don't care how you were raised. I care about how you're going to grow now. I need you to go and pull out that story that you have so that you can grow. You understand? You have to realize that you never judge people for what they're saying. You never judge anybody for anything. You never judge how much love someone else has. You never judge anything. You understand? You make sure that you just never judge. You never block yourself either. You never block yourself in a way that you become right-minded and wrong-minded. You realize that you're just a person who is growing and giving for free something of value that makes you a person of value. You have to be a person of value. You have to realize that is the only way that you can do anything. You can only be a person of value in life. You have to listen to Albert Einstein when he says, a person of value is more important than 1,000 liars. I realize that no matter what, that Albert Einstein is honest about that. I realize that no matter what, it was probably even somebody else who said that. I realize that no matter what, it still rings true. You understand? You have to realize that no matter what, Albert Einstein says, be a person of value. You have to realize that those people who have credit, you need to give them credit for what they've said. You have to reference people. You reference people so that people can go to Albert Einstein now. You have to reference the Course in Miracles so that you realize that it's going to help you. You understand? You have to realize that now, because I've referenced it, you have to go and read the Course in Miracles. You have to go and read Albert Einstein. You never just stop doing it because it's still your idea. You have to realize that it's your idea. You have to realize that no matter what, you're in this video to grow. You have to be the person who takes action and courage to listen. You have to understand. You have to understand that I am selling myself for free over here. I'm a free person. I'm in freedom, living freedom. You need to be a person who's also in freedom, doing something for free. You have to be doing charity work. You have to be doing something that's really gonna help you to never lose. You understand? You never gamble either. You're never a gambler. You never have to lose money. You never risk your money in the first place. You have to realize that you have to guard your money in a way that the outside world can never get it. I realize that way you have more money to go around. You also be more of a rich person financially. You have to realize that when you have money, you have to realize it's much better to have money than no money. You just have to realize that it's much worse to work for money than to have no money. I promise you that it's much more worse to work for money. I realize that those people who work for money have no time. I realize that those people who have no money may have more time than those people who work for money. You understand? I realize that those people who are now out of the 9-to-5 job have a better chance at fame and fortune and being more free than those people who are working 9-to-5 and who are stuck for $100 an hour and who are working for $1,000 an hour. You understand? Because you have to understand, because those people are really losing in life as they are slaves to money. You never be a slave. You never be a person who's working for possessions of this world. You be a person who's really showing yourself some skills and courage in order for you to lead someone somewhere in a better direction so you can set the sail, as Jim Rohn says. You have to make sure that you're planning in summer for winter and you're planning for winter in summer. You understand? You have to understand that Jim Rohn says that. You need mentors. You need someone who's really going to help you succeed in a far better determined manner. You have to realize that person is you. You have to realize that the only person in life is going to realize the only person that's only ever going to help you is you. You are the only person that can help you. You have to stop with the nightclubs. You have to stop with the woman chasing. You have to stop with the men chasing. You have to stop with the alcohol. You understand? I realize that many people are romanticizing alcohol and drugs and having sex. You have to realize that the more you go and chase it, I promise you that the more you're going to be a nobody. I understand, I stay away from it. I never have sex. I never chase it. I also never have drugs and alcohol in my life. I realize that it never makes me poor because I stay away from sex. I realize when a woman needs to come and get it from me, I realize I'll give it to her when I attract who I am. You understand? I attract beautiful women who are interested in me. You understand? I realize that I'll have sex with them for free when they chase me for it. I never chase them. I realize that I lose myself when I chase. I don't know what I'm doing. I never waste time. You have to realize that you never go and chase women and men. You only chase your vision and dream, which is be better than yesterday. I've already said it in this video. I promise you that is the only way that you can create a miracle. You have to realize that this whole video has been about how to create a miracle. You have to realize that I've said many techniques and strategies here in this video that you can go and do today in order for you to start benefiting yourself and being a more worthwhile person. You have to realize that each video that I do for myself over here, I do it for God. I really do it for the God in I. I realize that no matter what, my I is my eye intent that I really raise in every single video so that I can work a miracle more in my life. I realize that I've already worked a miracle in this life, in terms of this video also. I realize that no matter what, I always keep working miracles because I put the effort in. I put the effort and strategies into practice because I repeat my words in a different way every single time, in every single video. I'm always different. I'm always changing. I'm always growing. I'm a much better person today than I was a week ago. I'm much more wiser. I'm much more better. I'm much smarter. I'm much more adaptive. I'm much more able to look at life and challenge it. I'm also able to go against the grain. I'm able to go one way while everybody else is going 10 ways. You understand? You have to be focused. I'm a person who can really, let's say, sleep and have a nap only in life. I only have naps. I never have a sleep. I never sleep anymore. I never sleep. I have a nap. I may have a 1 hour nap. I may have a 2 hour nap. I may have a 5 hour nap. I may have a 6 hour nap. I just nap now. I never sleep anymore. I forgot sleeping. I don't know what sleeping is anymore. I realize I'm more than enough when I nap. I can have a 1 hour nap and feel I slept 12 hours. I realize that I drink no caffeine. I'm a straight edge person. You have to realize I take no legal drugs. I realize that caffeine and alcohol and cigarettes is a legal drug. I never do it. I never take sugar. I never take any processed sugar. You understand? I'm very strong. I'm determined that way. I'm a vegan. You have to understand that you have to go and do this. You have to go and stay smarter. You understand? You have to build that house and bricks. You have to realize that the house and bricks is really the wisdom that you give. You have to realize anything that you teach for free is the house on bricks. I promise you that is always going to stay. I promise you that will never fall. I promise you that anything of this world though will always be the house on sand, and the house that is made of straws, and the house that is made of sticks. I promise you it will be washed away. I promise you it will be blown away. I promise you that the house with bricks that is built on rocky ground, I promise you that is always going to stay as it is. You understand? You need to be a person who's really thinking about your life in a way that you're never really thinking about it. You're just in your heart about it. You have to be a person of your heart. You have to be a person of heart. You have to have heart. You need to be a brave heart. I hope you watch in life everything that's educational only. I never need you to watch violence. I never need you to watch crime. I never need you to watch action films. I need you to watch something educational. I need you to watch something of entrepreneurship and business. I realize that that's the best way that you can go about working a miracle in your life. I realize that's what I do. I have mentors. I have Dan Penner. I have Dean Graziosi. I have London Real. I have John C. Maxwell. I have Zig Ziglar. I have Jim Rohn. I have Tony Robbins. I have Eckhart Tolle. I have Osho. I have Tim Ferriss. I have Tom Bilyeu. I have Vishen Lakhiani. I have Lewis Howes. I have Robert Kiyosaki. I have Grant Cardone. You have to realize that these people are my mentors. I have Arnold Schwarzenegger. I have Jackie Chan. I have many others. I have John Cena. I have Triple H. I have Djokovic. I have Federer. I can go and look at these people and what they're doing. I understand that most people, such as the ones that I mentioned, will teach you something about life. You have to understand that you need to also be a person who's really studying the game of what you're doing in a better way. You have to realize that you're never playing games anymore. I never need you to play spin the bottle all your life. I never need you to play hide and go seek all your life. I never need you to play cops and robbers all your life. I need you to start growing up now. I need you to be more mature. You understand? I never need you to grow older either. I need you to realize that as you mature and grow up, I need you to realize that you get younger. I realize that you get more playful. I realize that you're just more into something more mature than something that's destructive and never making anybody successful. You have to understand that spin the bottle is for your own personal interest and is nothing in terms of teaching anybody anything. You have to realize when you're going to a net cafe and you're playing all these cartoon games, you have to realize that I don't care about the graphics. You have to understand that you're never really teaching anybody anything there. You're just playing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're really playing. I used to play those games. I don't know what that is anymore. I don't care about it. I just go and move into something that's really worthwhile for me now. I realize that no matter what, that games will never teach you anything. You understand? You never play games anymore. You have to start being more serious about your life. I promise you that FIFA, I promise you wrestling, WWE, I promise you WWE wrestling games and all these horse games and Crash Bandicoot and Mario. I promise you that it's all a waste of time. I promise you're wasting your life. I promise you're wasting your time. I promise you that you will never have a life there. I promise you that you can create a business around it. I promise you that you have to go and educate people how you do that. I promise you when you do that, you'll eventually learn something of value. I promise you that most people will play games. I promise you they'll play Age of Empires. I promise you they'll play some war games and Age of Worlds. I promise you they play Call of Duty. I promise you they play all these shooting games. I realize they're just wasting time. You have to realize that you have to go and do music and also teach how to do music. You have to go and do life and teach how to do life. You have to play games and you have to teach how to play games. You have to teach how you're doing everything. I promise you that's a teacher in you. I promise you that's the Jesus in you. You have to go and level people. You have to go and be more unique than everybody else. You have to go do something that's really going to be beneficial for your life in a way that you never care about what people think. You're just giving money for where your mouth is in a better way. You're always talking better. Whereas that what you say will come into flesh. You understand? You have to understand that you are the person today based on the words you've spoken. You have to understand that in order for you to better your words, you have to better your life in a journal and write better. You have to communicate better with yourself in a journal. You can go and use my examples in my Mega Drive. You have to realize that when you go into my Mega Drive, you can go to my journal. You can go see how I do my journal. You'll realize that my journal is messy. I realize that my journal is messy for you. I realize I never do it for you, I do it for I realize that I make my journal very messy. I realize it's a very messy act. I realize though that I've learned from it. I realize I've learned from it. I realize that I still gave you value there. I realize that you can still learn value. I realize that my journal has nothing of orderly fashion in it. I realize though that I've learned so much though having a journal, and just being able to put my thoughts down into a journal has worked a miracle for me. I realize that my thoughts are never really my thoughts. You have to understand that thoughts is the ego. You are never your thoughts. You are never your ego mind. You understand? You are never your imagination. You have to understand that the more you put thoughts to paper, I promise you're going to throw up all the garbage from your head. You're going to throw it into a phone. You're going to start putting value into your phone in a notepad. You're just going to start writing all day long. You're going to realize you did some content today. You wrote 10 chapters of a book. You just every day do 10 chapters. You'll do 20 chapters. You do 30 chapters. You realize that you've created some interest in your mind. I mean, it's never about your mind. I mean, you create an interest in life for yourself. I mean, you've gone smarter because you wrote 30 chapters. I promise you that the more you write, the smarter you get. I promise you the more you write, the more action you'll take. I can say it's up to you. I realize no matter what, you need to be a person who is doing the action now and doing something today that's really going to help escalate you to really be beneficial. You need to be a beneficial person in a way that's really going to set the stage for you to be around a crowd where you are really leading them, and you're never the person in the sidelines watching the leader. You need to be the person on the pitch while the crowd is watching you. You have to understand that you have to keep preparing for that every single day. You never know what's going to happen. I promise you that 6 years of my life have been through self-education. I promise you I've learned so much. I've learned so much. I promise you that my next 6 years is going to be even more than that. I promise you it's going to be 10 times more and more than that. You have to understand that my pace in what I do and my habits is really escalating forward. I realize that really now I'm starting to begin to really become more successful now. I realize I'm always beginning now. I realize in 20 years time I'll still be beginning. You have to understand it's more about your personal success and your individual skills. I promise you it's more about that than it is having a family around you and what you have around you. I promise you it's more about the wisdom you've created in the world. I promise you that all you really have in life is your wisdom. I promise you all I'm saying in life is go and increase your wisdom every single day, and that way you'll have one vision, which is be better than yesterday. I promise you that is how to work a miracle in your life. I promise you guys, I have this video ready for you right now. No matter what, I need you to share it. I need you to realize that you go and share it with your family. I also need you to start following me more and more. I'll give you more ideas. I'll give you more background strategies and I'll give you business techniques and everything that you need to succeed as long as you follow me. I promise you guys that I'll never fail you with free knowledge and information. I promise you that I grow from it. I promise you that I'm a person really strategic in what I'm doing. I'm always a life coach. I'm always a person who is a music producer too. I suggest you do listen to my music too. Otherwise, I did make a nice, beautiful jazz music and rock track. You have to go and listen to it. I realize I do have some club mixes and psytrance tracks. You need to go and have a real listen to my music also. I realize no matter what, guys, I hope that you guys really stay in contact with me. I hope you ask me questions. I will also be able to answer them. I will, no matter what, I will let you go. I hope that you enjoy your day. I hope that you realize now when you finish your videos that you put your more. I realize that when you're finishing your videos that you put more of your I and you in the situation. I need you to realize that it's really never about the finish. I realize it's more about the I and you in your story. I realize no matter what, I will speak about that more in another topic. I realize now, I'll see you guys later. I thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon.